What if I told you, the more you try, the more you block what you want? Sounds crazy, right? You've been taught to hustle, chase, force things into existence. But what if that effort is exactly why nothing is working? Look at your life. The things you desperately try to control, they slip away. But the things you let go of, they somehow come effortlessly. This isn't luck. This is a hidden law most people never understand. And once you see it, everything changes. In this video, I'm going to show you why doing nothing, yes, literally nothing, can bring you everything you've been chasing. But be careful, because once you understand this, you can't go back to struggling the same way again. You're trying too hard, and that's exactly where everything starts going wrong. It sounds strange, because your whole life you've been told the opposite. Work harder, push more, chase your goals. Never stop, but no one tells you the hidden cost of that mindset. Because when you try too hard, you stop attracting and you start repelling. Think about it for a second. When you really want something, money, love, success, you don't just want it calmly, you need it. You think about it all day. You check for results constantly. You overanalyze every little sign. And in that process, your energy shifts from calm confidence to pressure. And pressure is resistance. When your mind is in that state, it keeps sending one message over and over again. I don't have this yet. That's the signal you're broadcasting, not your words. Not your affirmations, your feeling. And your subconscious listens to feelings more than anything else. So even if you say, I am successful, but inside you feel stressed, worried, or impatient, your mind ignores the words and follows the emotion. And that emotion is lack. This is why people work harder and harder, but see no real change. Because effort, when it comes from fear or desperation, doesn't create results. It creates resistance. It's like trying to push a door that says pull. The more force you use, the more stuck you feel. Now here's the part that changes everything. Think about something in your life that came easily. Maybe a small opportunity, a random connection, a moment where things just worked out. You didn't force it. You didn't stress about it. You weren't constantly checking if it's happening, and yet it happened. Why? Because there was no resistance. You weren't emotionally attached. You weren't desperate. You were relaxed. And in that relaxed state, your mind was open. Your energy was light. And things flowed naturally. This is the difference most people never understand. It's not about doing nothing physically. It's about removing the internal struggle. Because real power doesn't come from force. It comes from alignment. When you stop trying to control every outcome, something interesting happens. Your mind becomes quieter. Your actions become clearer. You stop overthinking. You stop second-guessing. And suddenly, the same goal that felt heavy starts to feel possible. This is why people say, when I stopped caring so much, things started working. It's not that they gave up. It's that they released the tension that was blocking everything. Effort is not the enemy, but forced effort is. There's a difference between inspired action and desperate action. Inspired action feels light. It feels natural. You do it because it makes sense. Desperate action feels heavy. You do it because you're scared of losing, missing out, or not getting what you want. And your results always follow the feeling behind your actions. So the real question is not, am I doing enough? The real question is, am I forcing this or allowing it? Because the moment you stop chasing with pressure and start moving with calm certainty, everything begins to shift. Not because you did more, but because you finally stopped pushing against yourself. Desperation is silent, but it's powerful, and most people don't even realize they're operating from it. On the surface, it looks like ambition, it looks like hunger, it looks like motivation. But underneath, it's fear. Fear of not having enough, fear of being left behind, fear that if this doesn't happen, something is wrong with me. And that emotional state, desperation, becomes the biggest block between you and what you want. Think about how you feel when you really need something. Your mind is restless. You keep checking for updates. You replay scenarios. You overthink conversations. You imagine worst-case outcomes. There's tension in your body. There's urgency in your thoughts. That's not power. That's pressure. And pressure pushes things away. Because your subconscious mind doesn't respond to what you say, it responds to what you feel consistently. And when your dominant feeling is, I need this, your mind translates that into one simple message, I don't have this. And guess what reality does? It reflects that exact message back to you. This is why people chase love, and it runs away. They chase money, and it slips through their fingers. They chase success, and it feels like it's always just out of reach. Not because they're not capable, but because they're operating from lack. Let's make this simple. If you walk into a room feeling like you need approval, people sense it. Your energy feels off. You're trying too hard to impress. You're not relaxed. And ironically, the approval you want becomes harder to get. But when you walk in calm, grounded, not needing anything, people are drawn to you. You don't chase attention. You attract it. Same person. Different energy. Different results. That's how powerful emotional state is. Desperation creates attachment, and attachment creates fear. You start thinking, what if I lose this? What if it doesn't happen? What if I'm not enough? And that fear keeps your mind locked in a loop of lack. You're no longer creating, you're reacting. You're no longer trusting, you're controlling. And the more you try to control everything, the more unstable everything feels. Now here's the shift most people miss. You don't get what you need. You get what you feel normal having. Read that again. If something feels like survival to you, your mind treats it as something missing. But if something feels natural, expected, already yours, your mind aligns with it effortlessly. That's why someone can say, I know it's coming, and stay calm, no stress. No overthinking, just quiet certainty. That state is powerful because there's no resistance in it. Desperation is heavy, certainty is light. Desperation says, I hope this works. Certainty says, it's already mine. And reality always follows the strongest signal. So, the goal is not to force belief, it's to release neediness. When you stop treating your desires like life or death situations, your energy shifts instantly. You breathe easier, you think clearer, you stop obsessing. And ironically, that's when things begin to move. Because now, you're no longer blocking them. You're allowing them. So ask yourself honestly, are you wanting this or are you needing it? Because that one difference changes everything. Everything begins to change the moment you relax into certainty. Not fake certainty, not forced positive thinking, real, quiet, grounded certainty, the kind that doesn't need to prove anything, the kind that doesn't panic when things don't happen immediately, the kind that simply knows. Most people think confidence is loud. They think it looks like constant action, constant talking, constant proving. But real certainty is silent. It doesn't chase. It doesn't beg. It doesn't over-explain. It just expects. And expectation is one of the most powerful forces you can operate from. Think about how you act when you're certain about something small. For example, you don't wake up worried about whether the sun will rise. You don't stress about whether your phone will turn on. You don't constantly check if gravity is still working. Why? Because it's normal to you. It's expected. There's no emotional tension attached to it. Now imagine bringing that same level of calm expectation to your goals. Not, I hope it happens. Not, I'm trying to make it happen. But of course it's happening. That shift seems small, but it changes everything. Because when you're certain, your behavior naturally changes. You stop rushing. You stop overthinking every detail. You stop reacting emotionally to every delay. You move differently. You speak differently. You decide differently. And most importantly, you feel different. Your energy becomes stable, and stability attracts results. Let's break this down even deeper. When you're uncertain, your mind is constantly scanning for proof. You look at your current reality and think, it's not here yet, maybe it won't work. That creates doubt, and doubt creates resistance. But when you're certain, you don't need constant proof. You don't react to temporary circumstances. You don't let small setbacks shake you. You understand something most people don't. Reality takes time to catch up to identity. So instead of reacting to what you see, you stay rooted in what you know. This is why some people succeed faster than others. It's not always about talent or intelligence. It's about emotional stability. They don't collapse under pressure. They don't panic when things are slow. They hold their state, and holding your state is what creates consistency. Consistency in energy, consistency in action, consistency in belief, and consistency produces results. Now here's the part most people struggle with. How do I feel certain when I don't see results yet? The answer is simple but not easy. You stop looking outside for confirmation. Because if your certainty depends on external proof, it's not certainty, it's conditional belief. And conditional belief breaks the moment things don't go your way. Real certainty is internal. It comes from the decision, this is already mine, whether I see it yet or not. And when you make that decision, something shifts inside you. The pressure disappears, the urgency fades. You stop chasing timelines. You stop comparing yourself to others. You become calm. And calm is powerful. Because calm people don't make desperate decisions. They don't quit too early. They don't sabotage themselves with overthinking. They move with clarity. They act when it feels right. And they trust the process. This is what effortless really means. It doesn't mean you sit and do nothing forever. It means your actions come from alignment, not anxiety, from clarity, not confusion, from certainty, not fear. And when you operate from that place, things don't feel forced anymore. They start to feel natural, like they were always meant to happen. So the real shift is this. Stop asking, when will it happen? Start deciding, it's already done. Because once you feel that truth, even for a moment, you'll understand why certainty is stronger than effort. Letting go is one of the most misunderstood ideas, and that's why most people never experience its power. When you hear let go, your mind immediately thinks, so I should stop caring, stop trying, just give up? And that's where everything gets twisted. Because letting go is not giving up. It's not quitting your desire. It's not pretending you don't want it. Letting go means releasing the tight grip you have on how and when it must happen. There's a difference. Right now, most people are holding their desires like this tight, tense, controlled. They're constantly checking, constantly worrying, constantly asking, is it happening yet? That grip creates pressure, and pressure creates resistance. It's like trying to hold water in your hand. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it slips away. But when you relax your hand, it stays. That's the energy shift. When you hold something too tightly, you're operating from fear. Fear of losing it, fear of not getting it, fear of things going wrong. And that fear quietly shapes your thoughts and actions. You become impatient, you become reactive, you start forcing outcomes. And forced outcomes rarely feel right. Now think about the opposite. Think about a time when you wanted something, but you weren't obsessed with it. You were open, relaxed. You thought about it, but you didn't cling to it. And somehow, it came to you. Naturally, smoothly. That's not coincidence. That's what happens when resistance is gone. Letting go doesn't mean you stop visualizing, or stop believing, or stop taking action. It means you stop micromanaging the universe. You stop trying to control every step, every detail, every timing. Because here's the truth most people avoid. Your need to control everything is actually a sign of distrust. It says, If I don't force this, it won't happen. And that belief creates tension. But when you let go, you're making a different statement. It's already mine. I don't need to force it. That's trust. And trust is light. When you trust, your body relaxes. Your mind quiets down. You stop overthinking. You stop chasing constant validation. You allow things to unfold instead of trying to push them into place. And in that state, your decisions become clearer. You don't act out of panic. You act out of alignment. You don't react emotionally to every delay. You understand that delays don't mean denial. You don't lose your center just because things aren't instant. This is where real power begins. Because most people are not blocked by lack of action, they're blocked by over-attachment. They're so focused on controlling the outcome that they disconnect from the present moment. And when you're not present, you miss opportunities, you miss clarity, you miss intuition. Letting go brings you back. Back to calm. Back to clarity. Back to control, the real kind of control. And here's the paradox. When you stop trying to control everything, things start falling into place. Not because you stopped caring, but because you removed the resistance that was blocking the flow. Think of it like this. You plant a seed. You water it. You give it sunlight. But you don't dig it up every hour to check if it's growing. If you did, you destroy it. Growth requires trust. Manifestation works the same way. You set the intention. You align your belief. And then you allow. You don't keep digging it up with doubt, fear, and impatience. You let it grow. So, letting go is not weakness. It's strength. It's the ability to hold a desire without being controlled by it. To want something deeply without needing it desperately. To trust the process without forcing the outcome. And once you understand that, you stop fighting life. You start flowing with it. Your subconscious doesn't respond to effort. It responds to identity. This is where everything clicks. Most people believe they need to do more to get what they want. More work, more action, more hustle. But the truth is, your results don't come from what you do occasionally. They come from who you believe you are consistently. Because your identity quietly controls everything. The way you think, the way you react, the way you make decisions, the way you show up in life, and most importantly, what you allow yourself to receive. Let's make this simple. If deep down you see yourself as someone who struggles with money, you can try as hard as you want, but your actions will always reflect that identity. You'll hesitate, you'll doubt, you'll make safe choices. You'll feel uncomfortable with bigger opportunities. Not because you're not capable, but because it doesn't match who you believe you are. Now flip that. Someone who sees themselves as financially secure doesn't chase money with desperation. They don't panic over every situation. They expect stability. They feel normal having money. And because it feels normal, they make decisions that align with it naturally. No force needed. That's the difference. Identity creates behavior. Behavior creates results. So if your identity stays the same, your results stay the same. This is why people try to change their life but keep falling back into old patterns. They change their actions for a few days, but they never change how they see themselves. And eventually, the old identity pulls them back. It's like trying to live a new life with an old mindset. It doesn't work. Now here's the key shift. Instead of asking, what should I do to get this? Start asking, who would I be if I already had this? That question changes everything. Because now, you're not chasing the result, you're stepping into the identity. How would you think? How would you speak? How would you carry yourself? How would you react to challenges? And the moment you start embodying that version of yourself, your actions begin to align automatically. You don't need to force discipline. You don't need to constantly motivate yourself, because it becomes natural. This is what people mean when they say, be it before you see it. Not fake it. Become it. Feel it as normal. because your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's repeatedly felt. It accepts what you consistently experience internally and then shapes your external reality to match it.